Hello, welcome to my first video of 2025. Now, this is a slight return to YouTube for me. I first posted 2 years ago, but haven't posted since. So I did disappear, so it's a slight return. But I feel like I'm ready to make the return now. I'm ready to start the YouTube up after building some confidence in talking to a camera over on TikTok, which is very different. This is a long format video. TikTok's very short, very quick. So this is going to take a little bit of an adjustment period, but hopefully we'll get there. So in this video, I want to talk to you about my 2025 reading goals and then my priority reads of 2025. I have chosen 5 books that I want to read immediately as soon as I can. So first off, let's go through my 2025 reading goals. I don't have many this year because I don't want to put too much pressure on reading. I still want to keep it very fun, very light. So first off, my reading goal is to read 30 books this year. I set that for myself last year. I didn't quite hit it. I only read 22, which is very, very close. That's why I haven't changed it, because I still want to hit that 30 mark. And this year, all going well, no reading slumps for too long, I will hit that this year. Second reading goal, this is a goal again that I'm carrying on from last year, is to read a Stephen King book every month. He has over 80 books that I would like to read, and obviously he's continually bringing out new ones every year, and I'm just falling further and further back. So hopefully I can read at least 12 Stephen King books this year. That is how many I have on my physical TBR already. I have a full shelf full. Third and final goal is just to read and expand the genres that I'm currently reading. Last year I found myself in constant reading slumps, and I feel that's because I wasn't really mixing up the genres. I was really sticking to romance books, a few horror trickled in there, but I really want to expand that out to like historical fiction, literary fiction, and some classics as well. I have a few of those on my shelves. I'm mainly wanting to stick to the books that I have on my physical TBR, as I have a shelf the similar size to this one full of unread books, and that is why I am on a book buying ban. I purchased a few in the Boxing Day sales and obviously was gifted some for Christmas, so I have a few new ones to keep me excited for, but I do want to read as many books that I already have before purchasing any new books, because I just don't have the room. I don't have the room for them. So if I buy any, I don't know where they're going to go. Literally, they're going to have to go on the floor, and that's not going to happen. Books don't belong on the floor. They are my goals. Like I said before, I'm trying to keep it very simple for my goals in reading this year. I just want to read as much as I can, enjoy reading, and sink my teeth into some really good books, and hopefully find some new favourites and some 5-star reads. So moving on to my priority reads of this year, I have chosen 5 from my physical TBR, mainly ones that I have been meaning to read for years. They've been sat on that shelf for ages, and something new has always caught my eye, and I've picked that one up instead. So many books have just been left neglected, watching me read all these new books that are coming out. Going on from one of my goals is to read more genres this year, including classics. So last year I did start reading Frankenstein. I am about just less than halfway through. Really like to finish Frankenstein this year. I am halfway through, so I do have a good grasp of the story, and I am really enjoying the writing. So I do struggle with the writing in classic books. Like, this was published in 1818, so the language is hugely different to what we're used to now. So even though a lot of classics are very short, it still takes me really long to read them. It's as if they are a 1,000-page hardback. It takes me a while to adjust to the language and the writing style, and also I have to look up words that I'm not familiar with. I can't just read them and move on and hope for the best. I have to look up any words that I am unfamiliar with. But Frankenstein, so far, eerie, creepy, everything that I thought it would be, with it being one of the original horror stories that we were introduced to. So this is on my priority. Next up, we have Fairy Tale by Stephen King. Again, this is one of the goals that I shared with you at the start. I want to read a Stephen King book every month, but this one is at the top of my list. It is a chunky hardback. It probably will take me a bit of a while to read with it being so thick, but I don't actually know a lot about this one. I had it on pre-order because I pre-order every Stephen King book that gets announced, and from what I'm aware of and what I can remember, it's about a portal that opens up in someone's shed, and we follow a boy that steps into it, and that is as far as my knowledge goes with this book. Now, from the reviews that I've seen on TikTok and Goodreads, I think part of this book is from the perspective of a dog. Now, I've spoken about this on TikTok, how I don't know if I've made this up, I don't know if I've plucked this out of thin air, or if it actually happens, I don't know. But the disappointment I will feel if this is not from the perspective of a dog will be outrageous, because that sounds so fun to me and so unique and unlike anything that I've ever read before, that I really want that to happen. But obviously, if not, I don't know what crazy has gone on for me to think that this is from the perspective of a dog, but we'll see, and you'll find out eventually. Or if you have read this book, if you could tell me in the comments, spoiler free of course, if I'm going to read from a perspective of a dog, that would be amazing. We have Wolf Hall by Hilary Mantel. Now, again, this is another book that has been on my shelves for a couple of years now. I picked this up in a charity shop for about £1, so it was an absolute bargain and was on my list anyway, so even better. This is going off by what my goals were of expanding the genres that I read. This is a historical fiction, but obviously follows real people from the Tudor period. So it follows the rise of Thomas Cromwell. We are all familiar with that name during the Tudor period, but I have to admit that I don't actually know too much about him. I've heard the name, as well as, you know, Henry VIII and his 6 wives, but my knowledge beyond that is very, very slim. So I am hoping that I learn a lot more about that period and about, obviously, Thomas Cromwell reading this. And I believe it is a series, and it's been made into a TV series, so once I finish this one, I will be moving on and watching the TV series, because I am one of those people that like to read the book first. I have to read the book because I would rather a series be ruined for me in some aspect than a book. And another classic, we have The Woman in Black by M.Y. Haladom. You will quickly find out that my name pronunciations are the worst. I try my best, but I am horrific at pronouncing names. Anyway, this is another classic. It is one of, I think I have about 6 classics on my shelves. This one being the second horror that I have. I've seen the film, going on from what I've just said, but I have seen the film. I actually didn't realise it was a book until after I watched the film, or I definitely would have been the other way around of me reading it first and not watching it, but never mind. I enjoyed the film, so I believe I'm going to enjoy this one. Again, it is a very short book, like Frankenstein. This is actually probably a little bit skinnier. So yeah, this is your typical ghost story, haunted house scenario, as far as I'm aware, but I think the book does differ, as the majority of the time they differ from the film adaptations. I just know, like with the classics that I have read that have hauntings, the atmosphere that they create is just so eerie and creepy. Like, they don't even have to be massively descriptive about things. I don't know what it is about the language and the time period, it just automatically for me just gives me that shiver up my spine. Like, I absolutely love it. I recently read The Dead of Winter. It's a short story collection, and majority of the stories are very dated ghost stories, so they are just your typical haunting ghosts and people just being absolutely just terrified. There's no like hero in the ghost stories that wants to like follow them and see what it is. There is just pure terror of, I'm running away from this, get me as far away from this as possible. And that is me. Like, even though I absolutely love the paranormal and everything to do with it, I'm the person that in that scenario, I'm running away. I'm not following no ghost. But yeah, another classic, The Woman in Black. I feel like we have a slight theme with my priority reads because I do have another horror book, but this one is a new one. That's a classic. This is The Exorcist's House by Nick Roberts. I was gifted this for Christmas as it was on my list, and I am so excited. I love books about haunted houses, exorcisms, the paranormal. I just can't get enough of them. If you were to put me in a book, it would be a haunted house, creepy haunted house case scenario. Hopefully not an exorcism. But this is set in the summer of 1994, where a psychologist, Daniel Hill, buys a rustic farmhouse in West Virginia. He moves there with his wife and daughter, and they are intimidated by its secluded setting, and they find a hidden room in the house. And if you are an avid horror, paranormal movie watcher, we all know what happens when somebody finds a hidden room in a house and they open it up. Evil always comes out. Something bad always happens. So I absolutely cannot wait to get scared the hell out of reading this one. And last but no means least, I have A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. This is an absolutely beautiful copy of the book. I'll show you, if you take the sleeve off, it has Viking runes all on the actual cover. Like, I absolutely love this book. It is one of my favourite books that I own, and it's just a shame that it is covered by the sleeve, but that alone is a beautiful cover anyway. Stunning. I love the colour of blue that it is. Anyway, so this is obviously about the Vikings. This follows a shield maiden, and it's described as a fantasy romance, which I just love. One of my favourite genres is a romantasy, and this, including the Vikings, is everything. One of my favourite TV series is The Vikings, so I know if obviously this is the shield maiden that is in the book, I'm just going to picture Lagertha. That's all I'm going to see is Lagertha, and I absolutely can't wait. It sounds intense, spicy, full of magical aspects as well as just fighting. Women being strong women. We all love to see it. And that is my 5 priority reads for this year. I can't believe that we're already almost halfway through January. I've blinked and it's gone, but very exciting, and I can't wait to just read so many books. I hope you enjoyed this little video and of me making a return to YouTube, hopefully, and that I wasn't too awkward. Please let me know in the comments your top 3 or 5 priority reads for the year. I would love to know if we have any in common, or if any of your priorities are on my TBR as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will hopefully see you again soon in my next one.